right, if you've been watching our video series, you know that I am talking about the reasons why we don't live an honest life, and I'm on number 4. And number 4 is that we need acceptance and validation from other people. If we have made choices that are not real for ourselves, we have looked externally and we have sought in the wrong places answers and for what we want to study, what we want to do, who we want to love, what we want to become, then ultimately we have constructed a life that in some ways may and others may not be true to who we are and honest for ourselves. And often this is the thing we have to pay attention to. We do this because we're not strong enough to accept the criticism that might come or the lack of validation and support that we would get from our community, our family, and our friends. I have to say that this one is a tough one because in a lot of ways in my life, I think I have been very strong and courageous, and I have lived an honest life in most ways because I don't need as much acceptance and validation. But then I can think of some examples in where I've really struggled. I'll give you one, and this is really vulnerable to share. I grew up a Christian, and I chose Christianity. I chose my faith early on in my life. No one forced it upon me. And then I went through this phase where I kind of was just really pulled away from faith and really kind of got more spiritual and tried to understand what is this all about for me. And at one point in my late 30s, I started to think, what if I wasn't a Christian? What if I was a Buddhist? What if I was a spiritualist? What if I was, I don't know, Jewish? I started to explore all these different faiths and all these different ways of experiencing spirituality and expressing my soul. And as I thought about that, and I got closer to what was real for me, it got further away from kind of this dogmatic Christianity that I'd grown up with. And I'd shared with my best friend at the time that I was contemplating this, and she said, I don't know if I can continue to be as close to you if Jesus is not your Savior. Now, let me just be clear to say that before this conversation, I had never known that Jesus is my Savior was such a sticking point for our friendship, but I learned very quickly that it was. And it really then caught me off guard and made me think, oh my goodness, if I come clean that I'm having these thoughts, and I deny Jesus as my Savior, and I accept Him in the Holy Trinity as a way of thinking about spirituality, not the way, and I have other beliefs, what will others think about me, and can I handle that? That was the first time I really thought about whether or not I was strong enough to be who I was honestly, and live honestly, knowing that there would be some potential rejection, that there would be some judgment that came from other people. And of course, I could give you a million other examples since I've really started to think about this, but that is probably one of the most powerful. And to this day, it's probably the one that I struggle with the most, is how do I express a core part of me without breaking down the structures and the relationships all around me that are part of my culture and part of my community. And so the question we have to ask ourselves is, are we living honestly? And if not, is it because we're looking for too much acceptance and validation from other people, and that we lack the courage to do what is right for ourselves despite other people's criticism and judgment? And if you are strong enough to combat that and to honor yourself, well, that's where you're really on track to live